What is up, everybody? We are back. I am George Mossey. This is the George Mossey Show. Please say hello to my co-host, Cara.
Hi, guys.
So, 90 Day Fiance, The Other Way, Season 4, Episode 9. This is part 2 of the podcast. So, we talked about Chris and Jamie, but we're now jumping over to Gabe and Isabel. So, it was the moment of truth. They made us wait 7 days to get any type of interaction or reaction from Isabel's parents, and they were shocked at the information because this was, a lot to give one because they had known Gabe for years. So it's very shocking to kind of get this type of information blindsidedly thrown at you. And I think that's the best way to get a reaction. And we got such a positive reaction from them.
Yeah.
Like I felt like they were accepting, they wanted to know more, they had questions. And for me, questions are the cure for ignorance, right? Like when people are asking questions, that means that they are open to learning about new things and understanding things that they don't understand. And I am so open for that. And we were watching that, and I think Isabel's dad said it. He said, God has taught me not to judge anyone.
Yes.
And that was such an amazing statement because they were so worried about him being religious and that being a negative thing. And I feel like him being religious ended up being the most positive part of this because he learns from God himself. Like, it is not my place to judge what anyone is doing or what they have gone through. It's my place to love and understand and accept them.
Yep. I thought that was fantastic. I just don't know why he was questioning it so much. I guess it's because he wasn't accepted previously in different situations. But man, they said, I want to know more. So take that opportunity to tell them more. But I don't know. Don't question it. Don't question why are you so accepting of me? Don't put up any red flags.
Yeah, if they're not giving you any red flags or issues, don't go looking. Like I always heard the saying growing up, I'm from Louisiana. They said, don't go looking for doo-doo in the doghouse or something along the lines. Like, don't go looking for it. If it's not on the bottom of your shoe, don't go looking for it.
Yeah.
You missed it. You're lucky. So, and I feel like he had some negative interactions with religious people before. And he was like, well, usually my interactions are negative. And I was like, you have to give everybody an individual way to react. Like everyone is an individual, and there's some Christians who are not the same as other Christians.
Right.
So it's very possible that Isabel's parents are just a different breed of Christian. They're more accepting, they're more open, and they're not in the business of judging. I grew up in a religious cult where everything was wrong. Like even hetero relationships were wrong if you weren't married. So everything was wrong. So I love seeing progressive Christians, people who are growing and understanding that the Bible is not there to condemn people. It's there to help people live a better life.
Yep, I totally agree. I love the fact that they were just open and, drawing them in and all of that stuff. I understand that being a transgender is a lot more common in America, at least more easily talked about than it is. But, that's quite a shock to them. That is quite a shock. And I think that they handled it very well, very accepting, opening the door, saying, I want to know more. And then I just don't know. I'm so stuck on him questioning it. Like, I'm just stuck on that.
It's almost like he built it up to that they were not going to accept him, and he was okay with that. And it's like, I know that they say, prepare for the worst. That's what people say. And I think Gabe was prepared for the worst, but he didn't need to be. The situation came out in his favor, and her dad was very understanding, and he wanted to know more. And I think that Gabe wasn't prepared for, he prepared for the worst. He didn't necessarily prepare for the best. So he didn't have a plan for it going well. And unfortunately, we live in a world where he has to prepare for the worst more than the best, which is horrible. And I feel so sad that people have to live that way because we need to learn to accept and love and understand people for who they are.
Absolutely.
And I think that 90 Day Fiance had not been representing all different types of forms of love before. And I feel like we had two beautiful women getting married on this season. We have Gabe and Isabel, have our first trans representation. And I feel like we're making such huge strides.
Absolutely.
We're acknowledging love because we can't tell people what love looks like. We can only document what it is. And this is love. And I'm so happy to see the acceptance and the kids. So Gabe took the kids out.
I love them out and got their permission. That is so important. Even though he knew he was by them, it is so important to make them feel included. And he did just everything right.
I am impressed with Gabe. He's thinking about everyone. Sometimes I feel like he thinks about everyone except himself. making sure everyone is happy, everyone is in a good place. I do want Gabe to spend a lot more time making sure that he is okay too, because I feel
Absolutely.
like I've been watching that this season. He's such a lover and he's such a person who wants to make sure that things are going well for everyone. I need Gabe to spend time for Gabe too.
Yeah.
So one last thing before we go off to the next topic, we noticed that Isabel's mom isn't so sure that they should get married right away. She wants them to spend some time getting to know each other, which probably doesn't have anything to do with the trans situation. I know we want to go to that place, but it
Yeah.
might just be a mom saying, hey, spend some more time getting to know this person. Because every time anyone I know gets married, their parents say, spend as much time as you can getting to know this person. It has nothing to do with, gender or anything like that. But I do think that Gabe might take it a certain way. So we're going to have to wait and see next week how he reacts to that. And he's going to have a conversation with Isabel's dad where he's going to get more information about the transition and things like that to try to understand it. And hopefully Gabe is going to feel a lot more comfortable talking
Yeah.
about it with him.
I'm a mom, so my opinion would be I want you to wait a little bit before you bring this stranger in the home with my grandkids to live there permanently. That's a huge deal. So I think that might be where the mom's coming from. But I agree.
Right.
I think Gabe might see it from a different angle.
So I want to talk about Jen because Jen spent 3 months back in Oklahoma, and somehow, she didn't explain how, through some miracle, she got her 10-year visa reinstated. And right before she's heading back, we get some interesting information from her friend Randy, who did not give us this information back when we saw her like 5 episodes ago. Randy, why not? But she let us know that Rishi, well, she was catfishing Rishi. We knew this. And she withheld something right before Jen left the first time. It was that Rishi sent her a shirtless picture. And they were kind of making plans to meet up, which is very serious. And I'm like, I'm sorry, Randy, but that's something that I think Jen should have known prior to her getting on that plane. And I know she was like, oh, well, she doesn't listen to me. And I don't know the point. And no, I really feel like that's something that she needed to know. And now that she's going back and she's going to confront him, that's great. I do want that to happen because we kind of met up with Rishi's friend. Her name was Kushi. And she was like,
Yeah.
I do feel like you being faithful to Jen is questionable. She's like, we go out, I know what you do. And she's like, there are times we go out for drinks, then we can't find you. And we don't see you for till the next day. And there's another person missing from the group too. She's like, so the idea that you're being honest with her is questionable. Do you feel that way?
Well, I have so many opinions on this. There's not enough podcasts in the world for me to say what I got to say. But first of all, Randy is the worst friend possible. She is oh my gosh, she's a liar. First and foremost, who cares that he sent her that picture? That picture was posted on his Instagram July 7th, July 19th, 2017. So it's out there for the world to see. She says, send me a picture. He picks a random one off of his Instagram and he's like, yeah, here you go. Okay. Then he blocks her. She says, I think he blocked me because he found out we were friends. No, he blocked you because his fiance was on her way. Like, he was done with this. He entertained you for a second. He was done. He cut it off. But you're withholding information before she leaves the first time. If that's really true. If you guys were making plans, she should have known that the first time. If he sent you that shirtless picture, she should have known that the first time. But I have the same picture of Rishi on my phone because I wanted to know when it was posted.
That's interesting. I didn't think to go back and look. So this is a public picture because once you post it on Instagram, it's everywhere. It's on Google. It's on literally everything. So that's interesting. So when she asked for a picture, he didn't take a live photo. Yes, that's it. So you're right. He didn't take a live photo. And I think that's very important because that would be more questionable as cheating. Taking a live photo or a live shirtless photo, that would be a little more questionable. But sending a stock picture, something that anyone who Googled him could find, I do feel like that is less.
Was out there 3 years before you guys even got together. So that has no effect on you whatsoever. Like, that stuff he was posted a long time ago. He didn't send a current picture. His hair looks different. I'm sure his body probably looks different. He didn't send a current photo, but the way they're freaking out, oh my gosh, he's in a towel and he's not even wearing pants. It's public. It is public. You're making mountains out of molehills here. I was so mad. I was so mad.
So on contrast, what do you think about Rishi and statement said that he's been fully faithful to Jen. Do you believe that?
He's totally hooked up with her, so she knows. He's hooked up with her without a doubt. She knows. He's hooked up with her while he was engaged to Jen. I bet you anything. That's why she's saying it. She's just keeping it on the down.
Really?
That's what
So
I
you
think.
think Kushi is one of the hookups?
Yep.
Interesting. I mean,
100%.
she did have a pretty strong feeling because she was like, I said, I really wish that he would be honest and tell his family. And she was just like, I feel for her in this situation. That was an interesting take on it. Because, you know, sometimes a lot of women, they're just like, oh, well, she should know better. And they don't
Yep.
feel that way. But Kushi had a lot to say. And she was like, I just don't believe you. I don't believe you're going to tell your family. I don't believe you're going to marry her. I don't believe you're going to settle down. And she would know better than we would. You know, she would know him way better than we would. So I think we should take heed to what she has to say.
Absolutely. And when she made, I feel like she was kind of trying to out him, but getting him to out himself, because I feel like they've hooked up on more than one occasion. And when he disappears from the bar and can't be found, I have a feeling a couple of times it was with her. And it's kind of a jealous thing that she's noticed that he can't be found. You can see the way she looks at him. She's trying to say, essentially, I don't think you've been faithful, waiting for him to slip, saying something like, just because you and I were together, or something like that. There's something fishy there. Something fishy.
It is. Now, Jen is headed back to India, and she had a conversation with her sister-in-law Tara, and she told Tara about the photo, and Tara was pretty concerned too. But like what we were talking about, that photo might not be the main concern. The main concern is Rishi being faithful to Jen, and if they are engaged.
I'm more concerned about if Randy's being faithful to Jen. What kind of a friend does that?
Yeah, I don't like the withholding of information. I feel like that it's distrust for me. Like, you knew that I was getting on a plane, you knew that I was going to be leaving the country and, in my opinion, staying there forever, and you had this information that could help me, you know, make a better decision, and you decided not to give it to me. I don't like that. I feel like friends have to tell you what's going on, even if it's not easy, if it's not good news, even if it's going to hurt you. A friend is there to, in the long run, make sure that you're okay. It might hurt you that moment. It might hurt the situation you're in, your feelings, you know, but in the end, they're looking out for your best interest. And a lot of people on Twitter said it. They were like, I don't feel like Randy has Jen's best interest at heart. A lot of people said that.
Well, I feel like if it was my best friend and I was setting her boyfriend up, or whatever the case may be, she'd be sitting right next to me. First of all, she would know everything I said, so nothing was ever misconstrued. And I would, before she left, I'd go lay under the airplane before I let her take off if I truly believed it was a bad thing. That's just what friends do. And she's just like, oh, I'm just going to let her go, not knowing that her visa was going to expire. She thought she was already gone for good. So now you're really not going to say anything? That's absurd. I'm so mad. I'm so mad at her. And I feel bad for Jen. She's so stuck in the middle. She's just stuck, doesn't know what to believe.
Yeah. At this point, she doesn't trust Rishi, and she doesn't trust fully. She can't really trust Randy either. Like you said, she doesn't know who to trust. She doesn't know who to believe. She doesn't know what the truth is anymore. Like, in her mind, it's all distorted, and she doesn't really know if getting on the plane is the right thing or the wrong thing at this point.
Yeah. How scary.
All right, guys, that's it for this part 2. 90 Day Fiance, the other way, for episode 9. This is the George Mossey Show. Make sure you're following me on all social media platforms at George Mossey, georgemossey.com, anywhere you get your podcast. And make sure you're following my co-host, Cara, too. Her links are right here at the bottom. We're going to talk to all of you guys very, very soon.
Have a good night, guys.